Good morning, students, and welcome to the chemistry lecture of ammonia. In the previous two lectures, we have completed the preparation of ammonia by laboratory method and industrial method, that is Haber's process. In this lecture, we are going to start with the chemical properties of ammonia. The first chemical property of ammonia is stability. Now, we know that ammonia is stable at ordinary temperature, but at high temperature, at around 500 degrees Celsius, ammonia undergoes thermal decomposition. Now, what do I mean by thermal decomposition? When we supply heat in that is around 500 degrees Celsius, ammonia decomposes to nitrogen and hydrogen. You can see clearly here that the reaction is reversible. If the temperature is altered, nitrogen and hydrogen will combine back again to produce ammonia. This equation we have done, the reverse equation we have done in Haber's process. The second thing is basic character. We know that ammonia is basic in nature. When ammonia is dissolved in water, it produces ammonium hydroxide, that is NH4OH, which is a basic compound. Here you can clearly see when ammonium hydroxide, that is NH4OH, when dissolved in water, produces ammonium ion, that is NH4 plus ion, and OH minus ion. Just to recall, we have done this in the earlier lecture. Ammonia has 5 electrons in the valence shell. Nitrogen has atomic number 7, electronic configuration 2, 5, and hydrogen has atomic number 1, electronic configuration 1. So nitrogen will have 5 electrons in its valence shell and three hydrogen each, which with 1 electron will be shared with nitrogen to complete the octet. Now you can clearly see here 2 electrons of nitrogen do not participate in the bond formation with hydrogen. Therefore, these electrons are known as lone pair, and this lone pair of electron is responsible for the basic nature of ammonia. Ammonia does not contain hydroxide ion, that is hydroxide ion, but still it is basic because of the presence of lone pair of electrons. Now, what is the action of ammonia on litmus? That will be same as on basis. It turns red litmus blue. It gives pink color with phenolphthalein. It gives yellow color with methyl orange. Now, ammonia being basic in nature will react with an acid to form salt. Now, you can directly remember this equation in a word form. Ammonia plus acid will give you salt. Now, the type of salt will depend upon the type of acid you are using. If suppose you are using acid HCl, your salt will be chloride. If you are using sulfuric acid, your salt will be sulfate. And if you are using nitric acid, your salt will be nitrate. Just to remind you again, we have 3 acids in our syllabus. That is 3 inorganic acids. NH3, it's HCl, that is hydrochloric acid. H2SO4, that is sulfuric acid. And HNO3, that is nitric acid. You can see the reaction. NH3 ammonia plus HCl, that is hydrochloric acid, produces NH4Cl, which is ammonium chloride. We have done this test also in HCl. We have done this test in ammonia also. When you want to test that the given gas is ammonia or not, bring a glass rod dipped in HCl near the jar containing ammonia gas. You can see that dense white fumes, and that those dense white fumes are nothing but they are of ammonium chloride. Similarly, ammonia when treated with sulfuric acid will produce ammonium sulfate, that is NH4 twice SO4. And those who have not practiced the compound formation, you can do it still, you can practice it. Like ammonium ion has NH4 plus 1 ion, and sulfate has SO4 minus 2 ion. Cross multiply. Your product obtained will be NH4 twice SO4. The third acid is ammonia plus nitric acid gives you ammonium nitrate. Again, NH4 plus 1 for the compound formation, NO3 minus 1. Plus 1 minus 1 gets cancelled. Therefore, the formula is NH4 NO3. And the name would be ammonium nitrate. Some salts are produced when ammonia is first dissolved in water to get ammonium hydroxide, and that hydroxide is treated with an acid. This reaction of some salts dissolved in water, it is called as neutralization reaction. Here you can clearly see a base reacts with an acid to produce salt and water. This is nothing but it is neutralization reaction. Acid plus base will give you salt plus water. The general neutralization reaction which we have been doing in your lower standards. Now you can clearly see here ammonium hydroxide when treated with HCl will give you ammonium chloride plus water. Now if you compare the above equation with the below equation, you can clearly see when you are using only ammonia, you get the salt only. When you are using ammonium hydroxide, you are getting salt with water. That's the only difference. The remaining products remain the same. Like ammonia treated with HCl will give you ammonium chloride. Ammonium hydroxide treated with HCl will give you ammonium chloride plus water. Similarly, ammonia when treated with sulfuric acid gives you ammonium sulfate. Now, ammonium hydroxide when treated with sulfuric acid will give you ammonium sulfate plus water. Similarly, ammonia when treated with nitric acid produces ammonium nitrate. At the same time, when ammonium hydroxide is treated with nitric acid, it forms ammonium nitrate, that is NH4NO3 plus water. So you can clearly say ammonia reacts with acid to produce salt. Ammonium hydroxide reacts with acid to form salt and water. Now, when ammonium hydroxide reacts with acid, the reaction is known as neutralization reaction, which is a type of double displacement reaction. Now, your fourth property is reaction with carbon dioxide. Now, ammonia reacts with carbon dioxide to produce to form a product called as urea. This was the first organic compound synthesized in the laboratory. What do I mean by this statement? Urea was the first organic compound which was prepared in the laboratory. Now, just a hint what is organic compound, because we are going to do a lesson on organic chemistry. Organic compounds are those which contain, or those compounds which contain carbon as a main constituent. And here you can clearly see ammonia when treated with carbon dioxide produces urea. In some of the books, this equation is given as 2NH3 plus CO2. Temperature is 150 degrees Celsius. Pressure is 200 atmosphere. You remember, I've taught you this. If the temperature and pressure involved, you have to write those information on the arrow. Your formula for urea inside the book is shown as NH2 C double bond O NH2 plus water is given out. Now the next part which we are going to discuss is there in your lesson number 4 also. This is precipitation of hydroxide of heavy metals. Now ammonium hydroxide reacts with soluble salts of heavy metals to give precipitate of their respective hydroxide. Now what do I mean by this statement? Now like iron chloride when treated with ammonium hydroxide, that is FeCl3 plus NH3 NH4OH will give you NH4Cl plus FeOH thrice. This iron hydroxide or iron 3 hydroxide is a precipitate. What is precipitate? The insoluble salt formed during a reaction is known as precipitate. You can see the color of the precipitate, reddish brown. You have to remember this because there's a sure 5 marks question asked every year from analytical chemistry, in which you will be given a pair of compounds and you have to distinguish those compounds on the basis of their solubility either in NaOH or in NH4OH. Like they may give you, we can take up an example from here itself. They give you, they may give you, they may ask you a question that how can you distinguish between FeCl3, that is iron chloride, and aluminum chloride. Now you can see here itself in the presentation, iron chloride when treated with ammonium hydroxide gives you ammonium chloride plus iron 3 hydroxide, and the color of the precipitate is reddish brown. Whereas aluminum chloride, AlCl3, when treated with ammonium hydroxide gives you ammonium chloride as a product, but a precipitate formed is AlOH thrice, that is aluminum hydroxide, which is having white gelatinous color. Now both the precipitates are having different colors, so from the color of the precipitate you can identify their differences or you can identify the compound. I'll be teaching you in depth of this part in your analytical chemistry. Also, the confirmatory test for this is whether the precipitate which is formed is soluble in excess of ammonia or not. Whether the precipitate which is formed is soluble in excess of ammonia or not. You can see the chart in the last column. It's written solubility in excess of NaOH. Now, FeOH, that is iron 3 hydroxide, is insoluble in excess of NH4OH. At the same time, aluminum hydroxide is also insoluble in excess of NH4OH, that is ammonium hydroxide. In analytical chemistry, we'll be doing the same test with NaOH also. In analytical chemistry, we have solubility of these heavy metal salts in ammonium hydroxide and and sodium hydroxide. These are two bases which are we going to use in analytical chemistry. Also, we'll be doing the practicals based on that. So once we are back in school, I'll be showing you these compounds reaction in the laboratory also as a practical chemistry. Now third compound it is chromium chloride. Now chromium chloride when dissolved in excess of in ammonium hydroxide, it'll give ammonium chloride plus chromium hydroxide, and the color of the precipitate is dirty bluish green. If more NH4OH is added, still the precipitate remains insoluble. Now zinc nitrate when treated with ammonium hydroxide produces ammonium nitrate plus zinc hydroxide precipitate is formed, which is white in color. And if we add more NH4OH, that is more ammonium hydroxide, the precipitate is soluble. Lead nitrate, when treated with ammonium hydroxide, produces ammonium nitrate plus lead hydroxide. The precipitate here is lead hydroxide, which is again white in color, but it is insoluble in excess of NH4OH. Now, this question, many times it has been asked in the examination, how can you distinguish between zinc nitrate and lead nitrate? When you are explaining the distinguish between, please remember you have to write the equation also because the answer becomes more meaningful and more informative. You will write the reaction as ZnNO3 twice plus 2 NH4OH gives you 2 NH4NO3, that is ammonium nitrate, plus ZnOS twice, that is zinc hydroxide. Below the name of the compounds, you have to write down the color of the precipitate also, white. And below it, write down a single line. Zinc hydroxide formed is soluble in excess of NH4OH or ammonium hydroxide. Now in second part, you will write the reaction again. Lead nitrate plus ammonium hydroxide gives you ammonium nitrate plus lead hydroxide. Below lead hydroxide, that is PbOS twice, you have to write down the color of precipitate, white, and write down the precipitate formed is insoluble in excess of NaOH. Now solubility becomes the distinguishing part because both the precipitate are white in color, but zinc hydroxide is soluble in excess of NH4OH, whereas lead nitrate is insoluble in excess of NH4OH. Now the important compounds from this is FeCl3, ZnNO3 twice, PbNO3 twice, copper sulfate. I'll be taking like 7 to 8 compounds in the laboratory to distinguish, which I have observed that are regularly repeating for practical purpose also. So this part is really useful to you at three places. One is in practical chemistry for your practicals. Second is in analytical chemistry. Lesson number 4 of your textbook. And third one is here in this lesson. That is ammonia. I hope guys things are clear. Now complex formation. It forms complex compound. Ammonia forms complex compound with copper 2 ion. Now please remember there are certain elements in chemistry which have variable valency like copper. Copper has +1 valency as well as +2 valency. Therefore, the Roman numbers written in the bracket after the element name indicates its valency. Like if we have 2 here in the bracket in Roman numbers, that means copper +2. If I had written this as copper 1 in the bracket, it could be Cu +1. If you remember iron has Fe +2 and Fe+3. Ferric and ferrous. How guys we remember the things? So when like copper sulfate is treated with ammonium hydroxide, we get copper hydroxide as a precipitate and ammonium sulfate. The same reaction which we have done in the table, that is equation number 6. Now next part is when you are adding more ammonium hydroxide to a mixture of copper hydroxide and ammonium sulfate, you get tetraamine copper 2 sulfate. If you can see, the formula is written for For copper tetraamine copper 2 sulfate is CuNH3 4 times SO4. That is blue in color. And this equation is really important. You have to learn this equation thoroughly. That is CuOH twice plus NH4 twice SO4. That is ammonium sulfate. On treating with ammonium hydroxide, that is 2NH4OH, gives you tetraamine copper 2 sulfate, which is CuNH3 4 times, bracket close, SO4 plus 4H2O. Similarly, when zinc hydroxide precipitate dissolves in excess of ammonium hydroxide, it forms a complex salt called as tetraamine zinc 2 sulfate. That is a soluble complex. Now the reaction will be ZnOH twice plus NH4 twice SO4 plus 2 NH4OH. It will give you ZnNH3 4 times SO4 plus 4H2O. That is tetraamine zinc 2 sulfate. It's a soluble complex. These two equations are really important for you for your examination purpose. Similarly, you can see that silver chloride, when treated with ammonium hydroxide, that is AgCl plus 2NH4OH, will give you ammonium diamine silver 1 chloride, that is AgNH3 twice Cl plus H2O. Now we are going to look at reducing property of ammonia. Now we know that ammonia is a good reducing agent. The first reaction we are going to observe is reaction with chlorine gas. When ammonia is in excess, chlorine is reduced into hydrogen chloride. Now, if you remember, we have done the concept of oxidation reduction. Gain of oxygen is oxidation, gain of hydrogen is reduction. Here you can see in the reaction 2NH3 plus 3Cl2 will give you N2H6HCl. Now here nitrogen is losing hydrogen. Loss of hydrogen is known as oxidation. At the same time, you can see chlorine is gaining hydrogen, so it undergoes reduction. Now, if excess of ammonia is used with HCl, you get ammonium chloride. You can see 6NH3 plus 6HCl gives you 6NH4Cl. Now, here we can clearly see that ammonia is undergoing oxidation and chlorine is undergoing reduction. If you write the overall reaction is written as 8NH3 plus 3Cl2 gives you N2 plus 6NH4Cl. You can see 6HCl and 6HCl gets cancelled. Therefore, the overall reaction becomes 8NH3 plus 3Cl2 gives you N2, that is nitrogen, plus 6NH4Cl. The yellow green color of chlorine disappears and white fumes of NH4Cl are seen. Now please remember, every gas has a particular color. Like nitrogen, it is reddish brown in color. Similarly, chlorine has yellow green color. Please remember the color of these gases. This is really important for your exam point of view. Now, when chlorine is in excess, the product formed is NH3 plus 3Cl2 will give you 3HCl plus NCl3. Now again here you can see ammonia is losing hydrogen, therefore it undergoes oxidation, whereas chlorine is gaining hydrogen, therefore it undergoes reduction. The product NCl3, that is nitrogen trichloride, is formed along with hydrochloric acid. Next part is reduction of metallic oxide. Now we have to remember what is reduction or oxidation every time. Oxidation is gain of oxygen, loss of hydrogen, loss of electron. Reduction is gain of hydrogen, loss of oxygen, gain of electron. Now here you can see metallic oxide like copper oxide, lead oxide and iron oxide. They are losing oxygen, and loss of oxygen is reduction. At the same time, nitrogen is losing hydrogen. Ammonia is losing hydrogen. So oxides of copper, lead and iron are reduced respectively into their metals by ammonia. So ammonia will act as a reducing agent here. The substance which undergoes oxidation itself behaves as a reducing agent. Again, I recollect the things. Substance which undergoes oxidation behaves as a reducing agent. Substance which undergoes reduction behaves as a oxidizing agent. In this particular example, copper is getting reduced to copper oxide is getting reduced to copper metal. Similarly, lead oxide is getting reduced to lead metal. Why I said reduce? Because loss of oxygen is reduction. Therefore, oxide undergoes reduction and behaves as oxidizing agent. At the same time, ammonia undergoes reduction, all right, and ammonia will behave as ammonia undergoes oxidation, therefore ammonia will behave as reducing agent. I hope, guys, the things are clear. We'll continue with the experiment and the uses in the next lecture. I hope that till then you are fine. Go ahead, keep touch with your studies, help your parents, stay safe at home. Thank you and have a great day.